Welcome to the first wellness marker, low-grade inflammation. In the area of immune health, inflammation is a natural and essential part of our body's defense system. But when inflammation becomes chronic, it can silently contribute to diseases without obvious symptoms. Let's start with understanding low-grade inflammation. Inflammation is a natural defense mechanism. It helps us fight infections, heal injuries, and recover from illness. But not all inflammation is the same. There are two main types of inflammation. Acute inflammation. This is a short-term response to injury or infection, like when you cut your finger and it becomes red, swollen, and painful. Chronic low-grade inflammation. This is a silent, ongoing inflammation in the body that doesn't cause immediate symptoms, but can contribute to long-term health problems. Low-grade inflammation is systemic. It happens throughout the blood vessels and tissues. This is different from local inflammation, like arthritis. If a person has arthritis, the inflammation is in the joints. It may not raise CRP levels in the blood, but low-grade inflammation does. How can we measure low-grade inflammation? One of the key ways to detect hidden inflammation is by measuring C-reactive protein, CRP, in blood. CRP is a protein produced by the liver when there's inflammation in the body. Standard CRP tests are useful for detecting major infections or acute inflammation. But for low-grade inflammation, a high-sensitivity CRP test is the best option. It can detect even small increases in inflammation levels. There are PPG-based CRP data with traditional blood tests. By analyzing these results, we determine the sensitivity and specificity of our wellness markers, improving their precision in detecting low-grade inflammation. Note that CRP reference values vary across countries and labs, and they've changed over time. Generally, healthy adults have a CRP level below 0.3 mg per deciliter. Low-grade inflammation and chronic disease. Research suggests that low-grade inflammation is behind at least 80% of chronic diseases. Some of the major diseases linked to chronic inflammation include cardiovascular disease. Inflammation damages blood vessels, increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Type 2 diabetes. Insulin resistance leads to more inflammation, creating a cycle that worsens blood sugar control. Neurodegenerative diseases. Chronic inflammation in the brain is linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and multiple sclerosis. Autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Allergic diseases including asthma, hay fever, and eczema. Cancer. Long-term inflammation can damage DNA, increasing cancer risk. Chronic inflammation is a driving force behind many long-term diseases, making it important to reduce it as much as possible. How chronic inflammation affects the immune system. If low-grade inflammation continues for too long, it can disrupt the immune system in two major ways. First, suppressing the immune function, making the body more vulnerable to infections. Second, triggering autoimmune diseases, causing the immune system to attack healthy tissues, leading to conditions like MS, rheumatoid arthritis, and type 1 diabetes. So, rather than protecting us, chronic inflammation can turn against the body and contribute to long-term immune dysfunction. But it's also important to understand that a decline in immune response can itself contribute to low-grade inflammation. When the immune system is weak, the body struggles to properly regulate inflammation, leading to persistent low-level activation of inflammatory markers. This means that immune dysfunction and chronic inflammation can create a cycle where one fuels the other, making it essential to address both factors for optimal health. For example, in cases where a client presents with borderline inflammation but severely reduced immune response, the underactive immune system might be failing to resolve inflammation properly, allowing it to persist and spread. We often think inflammation reduces immune response, but the reverse is also true. A weak immune system can lead to lingering inflammation, which over time contributes to more health issues. Inflammaging, the connection between inflammation and aging. We often think of aging as something that happens later in life, but inflammaging can start early, and today it's mostly lifestyle-driven. Inflammaging refers to chronic low-grade inflammation that increases as we age. This speeds up aging and increases disease risk. It is no longer just about old age. It starts earlier due to lifestyle factors. Some of the key contributors to early inflammaging include poor diet, insulin resistance, chronic stress, lack of sleep. Inflammaging is no longer just an issue of old age. Today, unhealthy lifestyles are accelerating it. The silent and secret killer, symptoms of low-grade inflammation. One of the biggest dangers of low-grade inflammation is that it's often called the silent killer because it can go unnoticed for years. Unlike acute inflammation, where we feel pain, swelling, or fever, low-grade inflammation can be present without any obvious symptoms. However, some subtle signs may indicate chronic inflammation in the body. These include persistent fatigue, feeling constantly tired, even after a full night's sleep. Inflammation affects energy production and can lead to brain fog and sluggishness. Joint and muscle pain, mild but persistent aches and stiffness, even without injury. Chronic inflammation may contribute to early signs of arthritis. Digestive issues, bloating, gas, diarrhea, or constipation can indicate gut inflammation. Conditions like leaky gut syndrome and irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, are often linked to low-grade inflammation. Skin problems, redness, acne, eczema, psoriasis, or rashes can be signs of inflammatory reactions in the skin. Chronic inflammation often manifests externally through skin-related issues. Frequent infections, if you get sick often or take longer to recover, chronic inflammation may be weakening your immune system. Weight gain or difficulty losing weight, inflammation can disrupt hormone balance, leading to insulin resistance and fat storage, especially around the belly area. Mood disorders, anxiety and depression. Chronic inflammation is linked to higher levels of inflammatory cytokines, which can disrupt brain chemistry. Many people with low-grade inflammation experience mood swings, anxiety, or depression. Trouble sleeping, difficulty falling or staying asleep. Sleep disturbances can worsen inflammation, creating a vicious cycle. What causes low-grade inflammation? Many factors contribute to chronic inflammation, including lifestyle, diet, and even medication. Here are some of the biggest triggers: poor blood sugar control and insulin resistance. Chronically high blood sugar leads to inflammation. Insulin resistance keeps the body in a state of constant stress, making inflammation worse. Alcohol consumption. Regular alcohol intake, even in small amounts, can raise inflammatory markers. It also disrupts gut health, further promoting inflammation. Vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D plays a key role in immune regulation. Low levels are linked to higher CRP and more inflammation. Gluten sensitivity. For some people, gluten triggers an immune response, leading to increased CRP levels. Even if you don't have celiac disease, non-celiac gluten sensitivity can still contribute to inflammation. Medications that increase inflammation. Some medications may promote inflammation over time, including certain painkillers, SIDS, like ibuprofen when overused. Some antidepressants. Certain chemotherapy drugs. How to reduce low-grade inflammation. Since lifestyle is one of the biggest contributors to inflammation, making small changes can have a big impact. Here are some suggestions how you can reduce chronic inflammation. Improve diet, focus on whole, anti-inflammatory foods like vegetables, omega-3, and fiber. Balance blood sugar, avoid excessive processed carbs and sugar to keep insulin levels stable. Manage stress. Chronic stress fuels inflammation, so practices like meditation and deep breathing help. Exercise regularly. Moderate movement helps lower inflammation and improve immune function. Optimize sleep. Poor sleep raises CRP levels and increases inflammation. Aim for 7-9 hours per night. Check vitamin D levels. Ensuring adequate vitamin D can help reduce inflammatory markers. Reduce alcohol and smoking. Both promote oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. Inflammation isn't inevitable. Our daily habits play a huge role in keeping it under control. Final thoughts. Low-grade inflammation may not be as visible as acute inflammation, but its effects are far-reaching. It is a silent driver of chronic disease, immune dysfunction, and early aging. By understanding its causes and taking steps to reduce it, we can protect our health and improve longevity. The sooner we address chronic inflammation, the better our health will be both now and in the future. This was an introduction to low-grade inflammation, one of the key wellness markers for immune health. In the next video, we'll take a closer look at the immune response, how our body defends itself, and what happens when the immune system becomes dysregulated. I look forward to seeing you there.